So I'm doing something a little different for the first 10 minutes of the circle. Then it'll go back for the second turn. It'll be the usual way we do it. But I'm framing this work now sometimes as what I'm calling shared stillness sessions. It's Inka. Good. I'm glad she's here for now. Hey, Inka.
Hi, how you doing, Lee?
Can you stand up on your own 2 feet? That's better.
Yeah.
Inka, hello. We'll introduce.
Hola. Okay, let me see.
Yes. So, and this is Raul who's here for the, yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Inka.
So I was saying that I'm framing this session as what I'm calling shared stillness session, because I've recognized that all the work we do is about having this space of shared stillness. And when we speak, speaking into it, speaking from it. So I'm going to do a slightly longer induction into the shared stillness, and then a slight variation on the first, on the check-ins, the first round of brief check-ins. So please breathe in to your still space. Perhaps close your eyes and allow your breath to go down to the bottom. And you may find your stillness somewhere else. I find it at the bottom of the breath, where I can linger any day, anytime. So what I'm asking you to do, though, is however you contact stillness, to really sense it, breathe into it, feel the pleasure of your own personal stillness space. I guess I call this the psychic space of my own inner world, the base of operations. That's what it is, the psychic base of operation. And now if we gently come back to the screen and open our eyes and look around without giving up that stillness place. So we're in that, we still sense the personal stillness, but we're also in a sense of shared stillness. And I'll look into the camera so we can use my eyes as a meeting ground for the sense of shared stillness, which is the next level of, it's like the joining of our individual stillnesses, of our personal stillnesses into a kind of a field of human receptivity. So let's sense into the sense of shared stillness. Again, holding on to your inner stillness. We're in a field together, and we speak from the shared stillness, as I'm wanting to model as I speak. And what I'd like to do for your opening check-ins, instead of calling names or timing you, is to ask you to share something about this space of stillness, something that you recognize in this little exercise, or what does this evoke in you? And instead of me calling names, somebody, when you raise your hand, because you can share from the stillness about the stillness, I'll call your name and I won't time you. So take what you need to just express what comes through about stillness. So I'll look for a hand as we breathe, no rush. Thank you. Catherine, through into my eyes, staying with me on the screen. starting now.
My tendency is to still want to jump in and take care of you. So therefore I raised my hand. But I think what's amazing is how easy the stillness is to find if you look for it. So I think that's what's so fascinating about the experience, and it's just slowing down and getting into that space in between your earlobes and into your body. So that was my experience. Just it didn't take much effort. It was like getting back on the mat. You really need to still make that effort to do so.
Thank you, Catherine. Another hand reporting from the stillness field. Raul, go ahead.
I noticed that my physical stillness really helps the mental stillness that I feel as well. And just earlier I was practicing a sitting practice, and I was trying to stay as still as possible. And so this was a nice way to feel heavy in a good way, and also feel content that I'm not grasping for anything to be different right now, which is a very nice feeling and a very different feeling than what I usually have.
Thank you, Raul. Yes, Inka, starting now.
I feel I could just be in the stillness for the next hour and just keep breathing. And I like what you said about how you connect at the bottom of the breath, because for the longest time I've always been thinking about the opposite. Inhale, but like actually it really is grounding to me also, like when you exhale and take the long exhale and you just go further and further down into the ground, so to say. That's all I really have to share.
Thank you, Inka. Who's that? Suzanne, starting now.
One of the things I'm aware of is a great relief, because I was kind of revving, spinning from getting caught in all the political television stuff. I feel like my little nerve endings are just kind of like bowing almost and resting their little heads. And for me, I feel the stillness as almost like just the essence of everything. So I see it, in the rooms and the walls and all your faces. And just helps me to feel very accepting of all that is.
Thank you, Suzanne. Pamela.
Well, the stillness for me is peace. It's a peacefulness. There is a settling that is comforting. there's an ease to it. And I also consider it like my home, and it is of like living in eternity. I think of the Our Father prayer that is, I dwell in the house of the Lord, and it's more like that. It's like I'm. That's not something that is something I'm trying to attain outside myself, but something that is prevalent and exists in the here and now. So, very happy about it. Glad that we all connect in it. Thank you for providing the space for that, Lee and everyone else.
Thank you, Pamela.
You're welcome.
So to me, shared stillness is running the show. Shared stillness is a state that we cultivate. And I think we want to speak more from this in everyday life, from this place of connection, which I'm calling shared stillness. So, and by the way, it doesn't mean to be speaking from stillness doesn't always mean to have to be speaking in this kind of measured way. You can be speaking from stillness and be rowdy. We can be anything, but we keep coming back to our roots of that it's the stillness from which we are born, in a sense. Our expression is born. So with that in mind, or not in mind, I'm not going to call you in the same order. I'm not going to call your names, but we're going to do the regular 6 minutes breathing. Raul, I think when you came here, we did 6 minutes and then we call names to the camera, right? You saw that part, right?
It's been a while. You might have to refresh me.
You're going to go last.
Okay.
I've gone over this protocol with you. But so we speak when we're moved from this by the stillness. So I'm just going to keep some stillness and see who's got something coming through. That wants expression. Thank you, Suzanne. So here's what we're going to do, Rahul. I'm going to say 6 minutes with Suzanne, starting with a breath or two looking around. And then first word out of Suzanne's mouth will be the name of one of us. And when she calls, if she calls Rahul, you go into the camera, right? Remember that part?
Mhm.
You become her listener until she calls someone else. Okay. Suzanne, 6 minutes, starting with breaths. Calling a name, starting now.
Lee. So what I feel like doing is I brought a poem that I wanted to share, and there was a particular reason for bringing it. And it feels so wonderful to experiment with sharing the content, like about why I want to share the poem, and share the poem unless by the time I get to that, there's no more time. It feels like it really doesn't matter. But I love this notion of, like when I'm sharing content, Pamela, not splitting off from whatever, we have different names for stillness, I'm sure. I'll just say being right now, not going into a story or into the head or into the personality. And I love this invitation, Pamela. First, I want to just feel that it's so beautiful to just live as much as possible without it being some rigid goal, to, the Apple thing just came up, blocking my view of all of you. So I'll be with it from the stillness. Okay. Inca. That was a good experiment. Showing how anything can be met in the stillness. All right. So what happened a couple days ago was I joined a Facebook group called the Mythic Cafe. And I have a lot of resonance with Catherine. The stuff that's on there, just a lot of resonance, mystical, magical, deep connections with creatures in the earth and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, oh, I'll put up my new poem, Look for the One. And I had no energy, no big energy around it, Lee. And within about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, it started. And it turned out right now there's like over 350 emojis of smiles and hearts. And Raul, over 60 people have shared it. I want to stay here. So many comments that have the most touching, caring, deep words. I almost feel like I found another tribe. There are so many pieces that are coming up over the last, Pamela, days about wanting to understand why this happened and what does it mean. And I have been so happy to see that it has not blown up my ego. Really, really relieved, because in earlier years, I would be feeling like Queen of the Poets or some other bullshit. And it's like not there, Inca. So it's actually humbling me, because they don't know this, but there's a lot that's autobiographical in the poem, Pamela. So one of the threads here is that the little girl in me, not just the little girl, but onward, who always felt so weird and strange and a misfit in this world, because of just all kinds of things that where I don't fit in the mainstream stuff. It's like to have that celebrated and nobody knows that, and seen and cared about and loved. Catherine, that's one of the impacts. So I think I'm just going to read the poem, and I just feel like reading the poem. Look for the one. Oh, the minute or the 30 seconds. So I think I'll read it at the end. My time is up. Thank you.
Suzanne.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Luminous,
Oh, shit.
Huh?
lumin- luminous depth.
Luminous depth. Thank you.
Welcome back.
We're giving appreciation to Suzanne.
Catherine.
Captivating.
Captivating. Thank you. Rahul.
Rahul, you got it. Playful and delightful.
Playful and delightful. Thank you. Pamela.
Deepening sincerity.
Deepening sincerity. Thank you.
Is that everybody?
No, I can't formulate the words, but I'm feeling what everybody else is saying. So right back at you. I'm just still so captivated by what you're saying. So
Captivated.
You could just
captivated.
ditto.
Captivated.
Activating.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me know, raise your hand when it feels like the right timing for you to enter into the stillness, or stay joined with the stillness and words. Inka. 6 minutes, starting with breaths, calling a name to the camera, starting now.
So Lee, like in the stillness of what I was just experiencing, I was just it's almost like the stillness was the answer for me. It's interesting. I just couldn't really even formulate the words. It was just a wonderful feeling, Pamela, to just to listen and just to have that space and swim around in it and just or dive into it and just or marinate in it. I don't know. It's just beautiful to just listen to the words that were just previously spoken, Suzanne. Stillness.
Suzanne, are you looking into the camera?
Oh.
Thank you. Catherine. Just good to see everybody. Rahul, I don't know if we've done a speaking circle before, but good to see you too. That's great. I always find it interesting to arrive here, Lee, and have to talk about something. Duh, it's a speaking circle. But the stillness talk is really just maybe it's because of the chaos of today, which is hard to ignore, Suzanne. All I want to do is just sit here and just look at all y'all and enjoy that. But Pamela, Happy New Year. Oh, I've got something to talk about. I was kind of getting a deja vu walking into the office here and thinking about, what to talk about, blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of getting a deja vu of last time around this time, Catherine, when it was like, there was the thing going on in China and we didn't quite know. And it was kind of like this cloud, this looming cloud. And even though I'm feeling all, generally positive, Rahul, there's still so much more work to be done. That became clear in 2020, and that has to be executed this year and moving forward. So just by the events today, what happened at the Capitol, Suzanne, I'm feeling, it's happening. Like shit's gonna go down. And it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out, Lee. And yeah, I really wonder what this year is going to bring. Growth for sure, right, Pamela? And yeah, as long as we can do that with open hearts and learning to come from stillness. I'm actually listening to this awesome book right now, Lee. That's it's called Breath or Breathe. I think it's Breath, and talking about how important it is to breathe through your nose. And this guy did all this research on breath, and I've been actually thinking about, like, by wearing the mask, like how, you know, all of our lungs have been getting so much stronger probably, but meanwhile, because I've been breathing through my mouth, it's actually supposedly, well, in my head, well, what I'm learning from him, it's like it's important to breathe through your nose because it's kind of exercising the muscle. I can't quite explain it properly, but anyway, so now I'm getting a little lost. Did you give me the 1 minute?
No, move to someone else.
Oh, sorry, Lee. You're getting cross-eyed on that camera view. All right, Suzanne. Anyway, supposedly really important to breathe through your nose, and not as important to breathe through your mouth, or not as healthy. So this whole time I've been thinking, Pamela, like, oh, cool. You know, my lungs are getting stronger because we're, you know, I'm breathing through my mouth through this mask, and it's more difficult, Catherine. And actually, maybe a whole year's worth of breathing through my mouth through the mask is maybe not the best thing. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but okay, breath and stillness, and just by reading or listening to this book, it's bringing more awareness to breath, Raul, and I just appreciate that. So I didn't have to see you, Lee, if you put your finger up. Okay, good, because I have to switch back on my phone, but thank you so much.
Thank you,
And-
Inka. Vibrantly engaging.
You mean ping pong ball all over? All right, vibrantly engaging. Thank you. Suzanne?
Present, centered, real joy, and flowing with what is.
Oh my God, present sense, real joy, and flowing with what is. All right. Let's see.
Oh,
Raul?
Light and funny.
Light and funny. Thanks.
see, Pam.
All right, Pamela.
Delightfully uplifting.
Delightfully uplifting. Thanks, Pamela.
Yeah, relaxed and easy and joyful.
Relaxed, easy, and joyful. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you, Inka.
Thank you, Inka.
Who's going to take a turn in the stillness? Or from the stillness, or in collaboration with the stillness?
I can go.
Pamela. 6 minutes, starting with breaths, calling a name. To the camera starting now.
Well, I think I'll start with Inka. So I've been working with this question for the last couple of days, which is to clarify something. And the inquiry is, what am I searching for? And it kind of makes sense and then it doesn't. But I do find that when I discovered this question, it came out of an inquiry as well. And it's very interesting to me, Catherine, because in the background there is this curious mind, a curious mind, which I'm very happy about, actually. I think we all have it. And it brings to me, like, I could go into my mental body about it, Lee, and think, oh, what is it that I'm really trying to figure out? And, just really be in this whole egoic kind of inquisitiveness about what am I searching for, which would definitely, Raoul, take me down a little bit of a rabbit hole, which I'd prefer to avoid at all costs. And I'd rather just be light with the question, because I think, Suzanne, that the question itself is what is motivating or exciting, or is the journey itself, actually. Yet, when I stop, Inka, and consider the question again, as opposed to just letting it sort of flow and morph, it brings me to more curiosity, Catherine, and more understanding. There is another question that comes about for me in regards to it, Lee, is having an awareness of self-recognition. Through all my years of, Suzanne, of exploring and studying yoga for 45 years now. Sorry, I don't know how to make the phone not come through the computer when I have it off, when it's off on the phone. Okay, so let's see, where was I? Oh, the self-recognition, and who was I speaking with? How about Raoul? Thank you for your eyes. So in the yoga, one of the main limbs that one of the main premises in the second limb has been very forthcoming in my teachings, and it is about self-realization. And so that includes like self-discovery, Suzanne. It includes self-awareness. And this self-recognition has been a little bit different. Everything is so subtle, and that's why even having this question of, Lee, what is it that I'm searching for? Like, I think that in some ways there's a certain level of groundedness that we're all kind of looking for, that may be like some kind of safety, perhaps, Inka. Like, how can we be safe in this crazy, especially this uncertain world that we're finding ourselves in, with our very fabric of our society seemingly deteriorating. And yet, Suzanne, I think that there is also a certain stability that we have in our inquiries, because we have a sense of something that we do know is very permanent, Lee. And that permanence, I think, which isn't new to most likely any of you, is that impermanence, but it is that stillness, Catherine. It is that spaciousness of eternity. It is that expanded consciousness that we get to really, especially in this day and age, evolve into more, I think, profoundly, easily more easily than in the past. So I appreciate the exploration, Lee, to see what is it that I'm searching for and allow this conversation in this format to just evolve without editing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pamela.
You're welcome.
So Pamela, cozy depth.
That's funny. Cozy depth. I like that. Okay. Yay, cozy depth. Suzanne.
Truth and being explorer.
Truth and being explorer. Totally get that. Thank you so much. I'll go with Catherine, even though you two were simultaneous.
Deep exploration and ease.
Oh, thanks. Deep exploration and ease. All right, Raul, you want to go next?
Sure. Wide ranging and insightful.
Wide ranging and insightful. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Inka, are you?
Heart depth.
Depth. Yay, thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pamela.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Roll's going to go last, so it's Catherine. 6 minutes, starting with breaths, calling a name, starting now.
So I'd love to do a breath with Pamela. Thank you. And Raul, I'd love to do a breath with you. And Inka. Thank you, Raul. Inka. And Suzanne. Thanks, Inka. And Lee. Thank you, Suzanne. I've had so many emotions this day. So I'm looking at Lee, and it's been such a interesting day. I think I'm just going to walk you through it. Okay. So what is today? January 6th. I was reading about it's like the day, the Epiphany, the day of the Epiphany, which I just think is so beautiful. So I started out thinking about that this morning, Raul, and knowing how much my parents bought into the stories of Christianity and how it's taken so long in my life to acknowledge that I don't buy into the same stories, but I truly love the meaning of those stories, Pamela. Then I worked out with my husband, which was great. And does all these workouts over Zoom with people. So I get to join in and start my day feeling taking care of myself. So that's been such a gift over the past year. We would not have the time. This would be commute time or getting kids to school time when we work out every morning. So I just feel so lucky, Pamela, that that's how I get to start my day in this pandemic. And I think we all worked out extra hard, Suzanne, because we were all so excited about Georgia. Like we were like, this is going to be a great day. And even though some people on the Zoom calls, Lee, are from out of California, we were like, fuck it. Who cares if they're not Democrats or they don't care? But we did. So there was such good energy. So we just started with such good energy. And I was so happy. So, and then I had some calls with 2 clients and I loved my calls with them. It was so great. My second call, Raul, she said, did you hear what's going on in the Capitol? And I said, no, I've just spent the last hour helping somebody. Thank God don't know what's going on. So I really didn't know. So I went through the same roller coaster ride as you all and got sucked into the vortex of whatever it is that you watch. But I was watching CNN with my kids. I have 3 kids, but 2 of them are watching Inca. And my oldest, Charlie, and my second oldest, and then my middle child, Joey, who's 16. And I asked them to switch over to Fox News, Pamela, because it's a continual conversation of needing to learn how things are being viewed in this world, because I'm convinced that we're all looking at the same thing, but being told different stories. So anyway, we had this very tense explosion, Lee, when we went back to CNN and we wanted to listen to David Axelrod, and Joey, my second child, seems to always kind of speak up right at the wrong moment, which sounds like a terrible thing for a mother to say. But we jumped on him. I said, Joey, and Duncan said, Joey, and Charlie, his older brother, said, shh. And he said it so rudely, Inca, that I jumped on Charlie. Charlie stood up and said, what the? And I ran upstairs. I said, you know what? I'm out of here. I will not engage. To myself, I'm so horrified by what's going on in the world right now. And we were all just having this reaction to the visceral, like what was going on in Washington. And then I had to work for this. I had this workshop. So I just walked away from a tense moment with my children, Raul, and I just said, I'm just going to just hope for the best, and hopefully there'll be some reparation later. I got into this workshop that I was working on. My workshop was at 3:30. It was maybe 2:30 or 2. And at around 2:30, Charlie came upstairs, Lee, and he said, I want to talk to you. And I said, great. He said, I didn't say anything. He said, well, I kind of want to apologize, but I'm kind of still mad. So since I don't have time to tell you the rest of the story, what I will say is that by the end of the conversation, where I really felt like I was listening to him, we really connected about the dynamic that happened, how I was trying to take care of Joey, and what we were all feeling about what's going on in the world, and this roller coaster of a year. He really started to see the power of his words to his brother. And he, by the end, said, actually, I really think I need to apologize. So don't get me wrong. I apologize too to him for running up the stairs. That was it. That's all. I'll finish the rest later, but thank you for listening. It was just such a crazy day. It's nice to have you all listen to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine, emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. Thank you. Oh, Suzanne.
Engaging, open, and real.
Engaging, open, and real. Thank you.
I just keep on, sorry, I didn't see if somebody else's hand was up.
Okay.
I just keep on thinking multitasking mama, but,
Oh, no.
I'm going to jump on what Lee said, emotional intelligence for sure.
Emotional intelligence. Thank you. Oh,
Raw and honest.
raw and honest. Thank you, Raul. Pamela.
Stable and confident.
Stable and confident. Thank you.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Raul, 6 minutes, starting with breaths, calling a name for the camera, starting now.
I'm looking at Pamela, just taking a breath. Looking at Lee. Catherine. So Suzanne, it's definitely been a
Who are you with?
Suzanne. It's been quite a year already, and I started this year with a lot of space. I took the last 2 weeks of the year off, Lee, and there's always this special time when coming back to work and with fuller schedules where I feel like I have a chance to put some of that space back into my work day and into my work week. Yeah. And so far in the last couple of days, I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job until this afternoon, where all that spaciousness, Inca, and calm and resolve went out the window for an hour or two. I spent a lot of time Googling and looking at videos and watching the circus. Lee. And it made me think about this idea that I was reading from a writer that I follow, and it's just a historical idea, and I think it's a Buddhist perspective as well of we don't really know if events are quote unquote good or bad in the moment until much later. And Suzanne, I've been thinking about that a lot with today because I woke up very happy with the results of the election. And in some ways, I don't know if what happened today later on is maybe what needed to happen, an inevitable thing. And Pamela, feels like if people weren't awake yet to certain things, that maybe this was what was needed to happen for them to wake up. And in that sense, I feel somewhat relieved, actually, because I don't feel as crazy anymore with feeling like this was going to happen. Okay. I wonder what we're going to think about this time, 2020 and 2021, in 5 or 10 years when we look back. Catherine. And it's sometimes it's weird to think about what narratives we'll say or what we'll talk about and the things that we'll be surprised by. Suzanne. Something I started just on Sunday is a formal meditation practice again. After quite a while of taking a break, I kind of felt like all the introverted time in the last 9 months has been sort of a long meditation anyway. So I stopped sitting and felt like too much. And I brought it back again this week, Lee. And it's always amazing how much comes out just from sitting for a little bit of time. And I feel like every single day there's some insight I've gotten about my patterns or behaviors or things that are happening around me, Catherine. And it does feel like magic, where it just like a switch, turn it on, and then all of a sudden there's these realizations that don't just feel intellectual. They feel more embodied because I'm not reading information or trying to digest something. I'm just sitting and watching Inka. I feel really happy about that. And also knowing that at some point in the next couple of weeks, I'll probably get lazy about it, even though I know how good it is for me. And this year, I'm going to put a contingency plan that I'm going to assume that I'm going to stop doing it for a while until I get back on the wagon. Pamela. I feel optimistic about this year, and I hope that things turn around.
Thank you, Raul.
Thank you, Raul.
Thank you.
Raul, thoughtful depth.
Mhm.
Thoughtful depth. Thank you. Inka and then Catherine.
Grounded reflection.
Grounded reflection. Thank you.
Wise and centered.
Wise and centered. Thank you, Catherine.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I think this is okay. Significant thoughtfulness.
Significant thoughtfulness. Thank you.
Sincere, wise, and humble.
Dear, wise, and humble. Thank you.
Thank you, Raul.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
So completing in the stillness, through the stillness, as the stillness, completing. It's a minute and a half, up to a minute and a half to close. Suzanne, starting with a breath, starting now, looking anywhere you want on the screen.
Okay. I still have the juice to read the poem. It's called Look for the One. Look for the one with bird's nests in her hair, 3 scars she's proud of, uneven teeth, purple ink stains on her hands. The one who will take you down to the basement, show you the hiding places where she played with ghosts, show you the dollhouse she wishes she lived in, tell you why she thinks she left it behind, ask you if you think she is strange, who wants to talk about rescue dogs, the haunted eyes of the winter homeless, and how one look of love without fear and one $20 bill can warm like the sun. The one who wants to talk about the sorrowing folks in nursing homes, why poetry matters, how plant leaves love to be touched. Look for the one who knows why we are scared and harm each other, who knows how to be a river and swim with snakes, knows where golden threads can be found, and that silence shines and takes care of us. Look for the one who will measure you by the depth of your heart and nothing more.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Inca, completing with Inca, starting with a breath, starting now.
Somebody was saying on the radio that to focus on intentions instead of New Year's resolutions. And it's so funny this whole time, you know, before New Year's, every year it just kind of business slows down. And then I too have, 10 days or 2 weeks where I could just totally shut off. And the whole time I kept on carrying this little yellow book around because I wanted to reflect on the year, or I don't know, do some sort of forced in-depth work or something. And it's kind of nice how this person just said, just focus on the intention. It's like, okay, cool. So now every day I can have whatever intention, and that kind of took the weight of having some sort of big resolution for the year. So that's that. Thank you.
Thank you, Inca.
Inca.
Closing with Pamela, starting with a breath, starting now.
Well, every year for the last maybe 20 years, I have started my year off with an intention. And the intention has also been an inquiry and an invoking. And I'm so excited because now I'm putting that into a program that I'm going to be launching this month, an online course. So I'm pivoting from, my in-house studio to online, which is quite something different. So I appreciate bringing attention to the intention. Last year it was about peace, and it was amazing what showed up so much. And this year it's about joy. And already something has showed up even when I thought about it before I, did my little ritual around it for the beginning of the year. Just like what it really means to live your joy. And so I look forward to that, and I just wish you all lots of joy in this new year, and I'm very happy to be sharing this time with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you, Pamela.
Closing with Catherine, starting with a breath, starting now.
Do I still call on people to look at or no?
You can, but you don't have to.
Okay, so I'll just look around. Well, I think I'm just going to stay still for a second. What I want to say is just how much I appreciate this experience, how much it helps me. Lee. So I want to thank you, because the rest of the day was this workshop with 45 people, and I have learned how to, there's no barrier between me and the person through the screen anymore. So I had those people skills, but I didn't have those screen skills. So, and you've helped with the whole group has helped with this ability for me to trust what comes out of my mouth, and to really, and in fact, learn how to be myself more deeply in front of others. So I really appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Catherine.
Hey, Catherine, thank you.
Completing with Raul, starting with a breath, starting now.
It has been a good reminder that these circles are actually a good opportunity for me to listen rather than speak. And also good meditation to notice when I'm thinking about things that I want to say or relating to it in some way, and then being able to come back and actually listen to what the person and all of you are saying. And I've had an intention in the past around getting better at listening and trying my best to listen to what's really being said. And this year I want to commit to that more, because I think if we were all listening to each other, things would be going a lot more smoothly. So that's what I'm committing for this year.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you all. Thank you, Susan. No, thank you, Suzanne.
Mhm.
No, thank you, Suzanne. And Pamela, Catherine, Raul, Inka. So just a reminder about this new base of operations for this work being shared stillness, which is a state that I think we want to live up more of our lives from. So here's where we find our voice in that shared stillness state. Hopefully a voice that gets used outside in the world. Thank you. Our next Wednesday, 7 p.m. circle will be in 3 weeks, which I think is the 27th of January. 2 days before my birthday.
Ooh,
I'll be in touch with all of you.
awesome.
Thanks for
See?
Thank you.
Great, to see everybody.
Thank you for the use of your home again. Appreciate it. Group hug.
Great to see you guys. Really good.
See everybody.
Bye.
Ciao. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Ah.